I want to show you how you can turn this to this by changing your lighting. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Hey everyone, my name is Indira and I am a photographer and content creator from the San Francisco Bay Area. And I want to show you how to upgrade your YouTube setup, your video, and make your video stand out by simply upgrading and changing your lighting on a budget, of course. You do not need a ton of fancy lighting to get your videos looking something like this. You just need the proper lighting. So let's go into what I personally use and how you should be setting up your lights and make it look as high quality for your YouTube videos. Finding the setting for your lights is what you need to focus on first. For example, I'm in the corner of this living room, and I'm in the corner specifically because I can move my camera back as far as I would like. I could change the position of the camera, and I can also have my lights set up in a way where I have contrast and also proper 3-point lighting. So instead of just being on a background with just one light, which you can technically do, you can have a light behind you that is giving contrast. Instead, I'm able to have multiple lighting and have the best setup to optimize the lighting in this small space. So let me show you what I mean. So this is what I mean by having your setup in the proper placement. I have my camera, my Canon 90D, my main setup here, and it is looking directly towards the setup itself. Now what's nice is that I can move this camera back much further if I really wanted to, and I also have this corner as a dedicated space for filming, and I don't need to move much stuff around to get the type of look that I want. Also, by having this chair where it is and this desk where it is, I'm able to put lights bouncing off of the walls, and so that is able to create contrast and more depth to the image. So once you have that down, then it is now time to focus on what type of lights you should buy. There are different lights to buy depending on the budget that you have, but in the beginning, it is good to get at least 2 lights, and I highly recommend Hyper Photography and Utility Solution lights. These come with a nice softbox that you can place over the light itself. It's easy to assemble. It also comes with this really nice stand. So one of the tricks to get good lighting and to light your subject better, which in this case is you in front of the camera, is called 3-point lighting. And this is very common, and you will find a lot of YouTubers and content creators use this lighting because it optimizes lighting the subject and creates a softer light than a harsh light. Typically, you have your key light, fill light, and hair light. That's 3-point lighting. So before setting up your lights, you want to turn off all other lights in your room. You want to turn off the overhead light because that creates shadows on your eyes that aren't very appealing in video, and then you can start setting up your lights. Typically, the key light can be on either the left or right side, depends on what you're going for. On mine, I have mine on my left side, and it's as close to me as I can get it as possible. This is because these lights are around $50 for the entire setup, and they simply have a bulb and they don't dim or become brighter. So because of this, if I want the light to cast more on this side of the face versus this side, then I just have to move the lights farther and closer away depending on what type of look I'm going for. So let me show you this by showing each light individually and how these lights layer one another to create the 3-point lighting. This is what it looks like when I turn off all of my lighting and just have the natural light that is spilling in from the windows come through. As you can tell, it's very underexposed and it really has like no contrast or anything. This of course is not very optimal, and if you wanted to have better lighting, you could technically move towards a window. Again, you still won't get the best lighting this way, and you don't have much control over the lighting itself. Now, if I were to turn on the hair light, okay, so now we have the hair light on, and the hair light makes it so you have separation from the background to your subject. So even though it's very subtle, you might not necessarily notice this at first, it does fill in the hair that is here. And if I turn my face, you can see it spills on to my face a little bit, and that is what a hair light does, is it makes you, the subject, pop out just a little bit more. It's a very subtle detail, but it helps a ton in creating your perfect lighting. So now if we were to go and turn off the hair light and turn on the key light, let's take a look at what that would look like. So this is what it looks like when I have the key light on, and as you can tell, it has a very type of harsh lighting and there's no contrast in the background. So if you were to just have 2 lights and that's all you could afford, then have the key light and then the hair light on you to create more of a contrast in your image. So now if I turn on just the fill light, let's see what that looks like. So this is what the fill light looks like. And I have it pretty far away from me, again, because these lights are not adjustable. They don't dim or go to higher brightness. I just push the light farther away from me. And this is what it looks like with just the fill light. The fill light is supposed to soften the other side of your face, while the key light makes it more brighter on this side. But if you want to fill in just a little bit more of the shadows, then you have the fill light, and it also depends on what type of look you're going for. Again, if you can only afford 2 lights, I highly recommend you go for the key light and the hair light, but this is just a nice added bonus. It helps make the lighting softer and not as harsh on your face. So now if we turn on all 3 lights, the 3-point lighting, let me show you what that looks like. So this is what it looks like with the 3-point lighting. The only problem is that even though I am lit very well, the problem is this room is very beige, and it's the same color beige all around. There's no real contrast from me, the chair, and the background or the wall behind me. And so I kind of blend in with the scene, and it just doesn't look that pleasing. Now, a way to get around this is you can buy a cheap background and you can have a light kind of be filling in behind you, which some people do. But you can also use RGB lights, which are semi-cheap on Amazon, and you can then create some nice contrast where you have separation, and it also adds just an extra little oomph to your video. You can change the colors to whatever you want. You can have contrasting colors, or you can have them be all blue, all red. It really depends on what you personally like, but this adds so much to the video, and it also makes your video stand out so much more because you have that color contrast naturally in your video. So let me show you what that looks like when I turn on the RGB lights. So this is what it looks like with the RGB lights turned on, and honestly it looks pretty darn good. I love the contrast that the blue and the orange creates in this image, and of course having the table behind me with some lights on it and the plant also create depth to the video. Also, if I were to turn off the fill light, this is what it would look like with 2-point lighting and RGB lighting. So this is what it looks like with the key light and hair light and RGB lights. Now you can tell it's a little bit harsher on this side of the face. It's a bit of a more dramatic feeling image because you don't have the extra light filling the other side of your face in. I think it looks moody, but in the right way, and it all comes down to personal preference of what you really want. And I definitely think you can get away with 2-point lighting, but of course you still want to have those RGB lights or some warm lighting behind you for color contrast. So that is how lighting can make your YouTube videos stand out, and how you can turn a small space into a really creative space for filming YouTube videos. Let me know what you guys are using for your mini YouTube studio and how many lights you use in your video personally. Right now I have 5 lights going on and I love this setup. It's perfect for what I do and it's easy to set up, it's easy to put away, and it's just convenient to have. So having lighting can always upgrade your video, even if you are using a kit lens or if you're using an older camera. Lighting can do so much. So if you guys got something out of this video, please give this video a like and subscribe for more content. It really does mean a lot, and I will be making a video on these individual lights that I have and be making a review on those, and I will see you guys in the next video.